I don't even know how I'm gonna do the B-roll on these things. I wanna just cut this stupid ass zip tie thing off, but if I do, everybody's gonna have a fucking heart attack.
Can't you just unlace it?
Oh, I can. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, look, man, I don't know. I don't with this kind of shit, dude.
Thank you for another great intro.
Whatever.
Hey, Alan, that's how we do it.
He doesn't have an annoying person across from him. Hey, what's good, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Did you know that these released in the middle of the pandemic?
Yep.
But in case you've never seen these before, they came wrapped in this paper right here. Or it's not paper, but it's plastic. It says Off-White all over. It's got a Jumpman logo. I'm sure that you guys already know about this. This is not usually my type of release. There's like holes all over the box and so they call these the Swiss cheese Jordans.
Thank you
so really?
much.
Okay.
Because the shoe and the packaging just reminds me of the Swiss cheese pervert.
Okay, that is not what, hopefully we're not demonetized for that word.
Y'all should go and Google it.
Don't.
No, really, it's a great story.
It's disgusting, okay? Let's just not.
Alrighty then.
All right, so these guys right here originally released back in 2020, a year that I seem to have blanked out of my mind. And this is typically a shoe or style of release that I don't go for whatsoever. This is one of those, like, you gotta enter in multiple raffles just to take an L, and I don't really do that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, if I know that I have a good chance of getting it, then yeah, I'll do something. But other than that, I just know that I got no chance at this so I don't even bother with it, you know what I mean? So I just kind of like appreciate them from afar. A lot of people assume that I don't like this type of stuff. That's actually wrong. I don't love all of it or anything like that, but I don't think anybody really has to. I think that's what individual taste is all about and all like what that's for. That's actually what Virgil was really all about. This is like his individual style, taste, creativity implemented into a footwear product, which I thought was really cool. My favorite of his Off-White Nike/Jordan designs or collabs, I don't know what order I'd rank them in, to be honest, because like I keep like going back and forth between this one being my favorite or the Air Jordan 2 in the original like white and red colorway being my favorite. But I also really loved the Presto. Like I think that it looks so cool. Like it's so weird that he turned the shoe inside out and it looked good. I wouldn't even say it looked good. I think it looks better than the original, and I really like the original Presto too. So whatever type of creative juice that fool was drinking, it was on a different level. So there's some things on the shoe that like some people might want to like scoff at or make fun of, like the quotation thing where it says shoelaces or air or whatever. Like I know that there's like some rug that says rug or some like that. I don't know. But when I do see it, like I said, it's like I look at this the way that he intended it to be, which is like art pieces. And that's how I see these. Like if you're an OG diehard Jordan fan, which I would kind of loosely lump myself in with, I don't feel like I'm in that OG lineup. You know what I mean? Like I was born in the 80s. I was like 2 when the shoe came out, like the first one. So I don't consider myself really an OG. I really got into Jordans midway through his career, you know what I mean? Like with the 10s and onward. This to me was one of those things where I would look back at it and be like, man, I wish that I was around in 1990 so I could have gotten a pair of Jordan 5s. And then when I see something like this, I'm like, ooh, that's a weird take on these things. Sometimes I don't like it though. Like the Jordan 1, I don't know why, and that's like everybody's favorite, but I don't like those. Something about them just doesn't jive with me. This one though, don't know why either. Maybe it's the cheese theme. I like cheese, whatever, but I like it. And it's not a cheese theme, okay? It's just what people say. I'll talk about that in a second. Let me just make that clear. Anyways, as far as the shoe is concerned, the original shoe was released way back in 1990. According to Virgil, it was his first pair of Jordans. He said that he got the black pair, the black and metallics. And so that's the 2 colorways of this shoe that he actually flipped. The black metallics, I believe, dropped first, and they had this whole same artistic approach. That was the first one I believe that released, and then this one afterwards, both of which were part of the original lineup of the 1990, Air Jordan 5 line. It was the black metallics, the white. They call these the white and fire reds now, but when I was a kid, they called the fire red with the black tongue the fire reds. I don't know what they called these. I was trying to think of that before we were filming, and I was like, I don't know what they call these. I think they just called them the silver tongues.
They're not the Chicagos?
No, they didn't say that with, like, at least not in my area. So I think that's something that's cool about sneakers. Depending on where you're from, it was called something else, you know what I mean? Like some people were like, nah, man, we always called them breads. And I'm like, where are you from where that happened? In San Jose, didn't happen.
It's like soda.
Where it's like pop or whatever.
Or they're all called Cokes, even though you're not getting a Coke.
What?
Yeah, like some places will be like, I want a Coke, but they just mean I want a soda. They don't actually want a Coca-Cola.
Well, then what kind of soda are they getting?
I don't know, but it's the same equivalent as pop.
Okay.
or soda.
Well, that's cool. So yeah, let me know where you're from and what they called this colorway originally, the silver tongue, black midsole, fire red accents. Like, what were they called or nicknamed back in 1990? You can also include 1999 when they retroed, just because that was like the first time that I ever had a chance of possibly getting them, even though my mom said, hell no. But in case you were wondering what the whole, whole theme is all about and everything, I actually screenshotted some quotes from an interview with him in Complex. And he says right here, in this shoe, the 5 is one of those designs that's affected by the fact that most of my shoes leak before I get to announce them. That's where the holes came from. The shoes would have come with the holes already cut out, but I decided not to because if the shoes had leaked, then the full design would be out. And then he talked about some Easter eggs and all that stuff, but his original intent was that these holes right here would actually already be pre-cut, which they actually are right here on the tongue. So there's nothing in there. I originally thought that was like maybe for a pull tab or something like the 6s, but it's not on the other shoe. But yeah, so basically he originally wanted to release the shoe with the holes already punched through. He decided not to because the shoes leaked with those holes already punched out and hella people were roasting on him. But then when the shoe eventually released, everybody changed their mind all of a sudden and they were like, oh yeah. And I think it's because everybody knew that they could flip them and that's really why they liked them. I just thought they were dope looking. So yeah, but essentially the holes are supposed to be for your own personal storytelling. You're supposed to fill in those holes with your stories or your experiences and all of that stuff while you do whatever it is that you do in the product. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Again, kind of like an artist's abstract take on an old school product, whether it be flipping the theme from being brand new to pre-vintaged, like on the sole, or poking holes and stuff. So yeah. Now, as far as the shoe itself is concerned, they are built off of the original style of the shoe. So when you flip it over to see the traction, you do see the Nike branding right there at the midfoot. This particular shoe is all translucent rubber, even though it is tinted a little bit in certain areas where there would typically be solid rubber features like the toe cap and the midfoot. Instead, it's just tinted those colors, which I think is kind of interesting. I just really like the way that it looks. I also love this piss yellow sole because this is the way that a lot of those shoes, especially like the 99 retros, would eventually look in due time and stuff. So this right here to me just speaks to me, you know what I mean? Like I had like my Concords, my 2000 Concords looked like this eventually. The midsole itself is just like any other Air Jordan 5 midsole. It's a polyurethane, and inside the forefoot is an encapsulated air sole unit, and then in the rear is a visible one, so that's obviously visible. The insole is something that I'm surprised with, but I'm not. It's so cheap. Like this thing is just a piece of, and for the retail price, which I believe was like 200 or 225, somewhere around there, you'd think that they would give you polyurethane at the very least, but instead they gave you a zip tie and lots of laces. The shoe itself features a completely different upper than the original. The originals featured Durabuck, and I'm talking about the 1990 original. And then the retros all featured like different materials. So I believe the 99 version featured a synthetic build, also considered Durabuck. And then the 2008s and onward were leather. This is again that pre-vintage look. So the upper would kind of look like this if you had a 1990 version. And no, they would not all look like this. It's just that some of them, the polyurethane coat would yellow over time, and it was mostly in certain areas. Most of them that I saw that would yellow was right around the collar area, but the eye stays would yellow like this. So again, kind of like a nice attention to detail piece. The material itself is all ripstop. This is not my favorite material. I do prefer the other way around, but for comfort wise, like this is actually a good move. The only thing I don't like about the ripstop, at least this particular version, is if you can hear this. Good for ASMR, but I don't need that when I'm walking around, you know what I mean? It sounds like you're in a trash bag. So that's the only thing that I don't like love about it. But outside of that, I can completely ignore it because they just look so cool, you know what I mean? Like it's such an interesting version of the shoe. One of my favorite features is actually the removal of the side pods or the ankle pillows or pods, whatever it is that you'd like to call them. And in that same Complex article, he said that he wanted to slim down the shoe because while he originally had the originals back in 1990, one of the things that he disliked about them personally was how bulky they were right there in the ankle and the rear. So he slimmed down the shoe, took out all the padding, kind of reverse engineered it, if you will, and just kind of like made them streamlined. And I think that it looks a lot better, surprisingly, because again, I love the original 5 as it is, but this one, I don't know. Like, you know, they did this with like the Khalids and something else. I don't remember what the other colorway was, or I think it was the Alma Maniers. They all just look so clean like this, you know what I mean? So I really like the way that this looks. On top of that, he thinned out the tongue a lot too, which again, I think is a great move. It looks good. It looks much better like being worn like that instead of this huge fat ass tongue that was never on the originals. Like the current retros just don't look right. The toes, by the way, look at the toe. That's the way a Jordan 5 toe should look. It shouldn't look like a pair of 3s, it should look like a pair of 5s. On top of all of that, they added more original features that were part of not just the general release, but also MJ's PE. So on the rear of the shoe, it says Nike Air behind the ripstop, interesting look. And also underneath the side panel is the PE branding, which is the 23 on there. So yeah, I think that it's really cool. I think that these are dope. Feel free to let me know what you think. Also, if you wanted to, I wouldn't say rate or rank your top off-white shoes, but if you want to just give me your top 3, because there's a lot of off-white shoes, you know what I mean? Like all the Dunks and Air Forces and all that stuff. So if you want to just give me your favorite 3, that would be dope, because I'm just curious like what everybody else likes. But sound off below and let us know. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening to me ramble about something that came out 4 years ago that you still care about. So thank you for everything. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you guys on the next one. So until then, oh, wait a minute. I forgot to talk about sizing. Oh, she's so happy right now. You don't even know. As far as sizing is concerned, I went down half a size because of all those changes that he made to the shoe. He removed a lot of the padding and everything, so they're not bulky in the back. They're way more like loose fitting. So I went down half a size. They fit me really well. I do hear that most people go true to size, so that's probably what I would recommend for most. I just like a snug fit. And with that being said, I'm out of here. So yeah, I gotta feed somebody.
I found a thing about the sodas.
Oh, so we can extend time for this?
Yep.
Okay, fine.
California is solidly in the soda camp. But
what's that mean?
Like, as in that's what we call it.
Oh.
Can I get a soda?
Okay.
But if you go to Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana.
So southern states.
Yes. If you went into a restaurant, you would say, what kind of Coke do you have? And then they would tell you what kinds they have.
Like Sprite Coke?
No, they would just
Pepsi
say,
Coke?
oh, we have Sprite, we have Mr. Pibb, we have
Oh, really?
root beer.
Okay.
And then you'd be like, no, I want a Coke.
But I've been down there and I just say, can I get a Sprite?
This is from 2019, but they went and to all 50 states.
Okay. Well, maybe that's how they knew that I was from out of town.
Maybe.
Because they just said, like, what would you like to drink? And I was just like, can I get a Sprite, please? And they're like, got you.
But yeah, well, if you're in Oregon, Maine, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Montana, you would call it pop.
Well, fun fact of the day.
For those of you guys missing the podcast, it'll be back in February where I'll give you more fun facts.
Morbid fun facts.
I got a good one.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited.